This is the story of a loser adventurer Kurt who gets kicked out of his party because they thought he was completely useless and doesn't know anything. But the real truth is that Kurt actually had SSS rank abilities which no one knew about, not even Kurt himself. So, before we begin, if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and let's hit 15k subscribers soon. At the start of the story, we're told that Fenrir, an S-rank monster, powerful enough to destroy an entire village all by himself, attacked a village. That's why the villagers hire an adventurer party called the Flaming Dragon Fong to defeat the monster. We then see a girl named Vandana tying up the monster with her ropes, but the monster flings her away with its strength. Just then, a healer heals Vandana. Vandana again manages to bind the monster, after which their leader, Gold Nova, finishes it off with his flaming sword. Apart from these three, there's one more guy in their party and he's of no use. And that useless guy is our main character, Kurt, who only knows how to do household chores. In the next scene, we see them all eating together. Kurt was cooking for them, but then Vandana says that today is the last time they'll eat food made by Kurt. Hearing this, Kurt asks what she means. Gold Nova says, "I'm kicking you out because you don't know anything beyond housework. You can't even defeat a slime." Then the healer Marley says, "A party can only have 4 people. If we want to become stronger, we have to replace you with a mage." When Kurt tries to explain himself, Gold Nova kicks him in the stomach and the girls laugh at this. And that's how Kurt gets thrown out of the party. Now, Kurt had very little money left, so he goes to a guild to find work. As soon as he enters, a girl welcomes him. Kurt tells her that he's looking for work. Hearing that, the girl named Krish starts collecting Kurt's information. We learn that Kurt is 15 years old and from the Hest village in the Sheen Mountains. But Krish says she's never heard of this village before. Kurt tells her that until yesterday, he used to do cleaning in the double S rank party, the Flaming Dragon Fong. Hearing this, Krish says that he'll get work easily since he was part of a double S rank party. Now she begins to check what kind of abilities he had. In this world, every person is born with some kind of power from the gods. The greater your ability, the higher your rank will be. Also, someone with a lower rank can't even cut iron with a sword, but someone with a higher rank can do it easily. Kurt also thinks he must have some amazing ability, but all his reports come back with a rank G. He had no combat ability at all. So, Krish suggests he might have some craftsmanship ability, but it can only be tested after a week, since their technician is on leave. Kurt tells her that he had no money at all, so Krish asks him to lift some sacks. Kurt tries to lift them, but even one sack feels too heavy. Still, Krish sees that Kurt can manage a little construction work. Krish tells him about a frontier town on the Takun path where some construction is going on and asks if he would be willing to work there. Kurt agrees. In the next scene, Kurt arrives at the site to work. A man there tells him, "Look kid, I'll only say this once, you have to put the cement on those walls." Kurt wonders to himself whether he needs to infuse the cement with mana to make it stronger. But the man simply walks away saying, "I'll come back in 3 hours to check your work. Work with full dedication until then." Kurt thinks that the man didn't mention anything about infusing the cement with mana because, in his eyes, Kurt is useless. Still, Kurt begins his work, but when the man returns 3 hours later to check, he's absolutely stunned. Kurt had already finished one side of the wall. He was shocked that this little boy completed one side of the wall in just 3 hours. He asked Kurt how he managed to do the top portion, since there were no ladders around. Kurt explains that he threw the cement with precision from below and then used a large piece of wood to press it in place. Though it was hard to believe, but the man was seeing the result with his own eyes. He then asks Kurt how long he'll be working there. Kurt says for 1 week. The man then pays Kurt for the day's work. Kurt was very happy because, for the first time, he was getting rewarded for his hard work. 3 days later, we see that Kurt had completed the entire wall. People were shocked. How could such a huge wall be built in so little time? The man then tells Kurt he'll have to leave, not because he did anything wrong, but because the wall building job was meant for laborers trying to earn their living. Kurt worked so fast that there was no money left to pay other workers. He even says, "Honestly, I think your ability is worthy of a double S rank or no, a triple S rank." And then he walks away. But Kurt thinks the man just wanted to get rid of him and said all that to push him out. Kurt then returns to the workstation, but Krish still can't help because the technician hasn't returned yet. Just then, we see a girl arguing with the receptionist. Krish walks over and asks what's going on. The receptionist explains that the lady needs an assistant but will only pay them if the work is completed successfully. The woman then says that if she doesn't finish her work within a week, some people will take over her mountain and village. Hearing this, Kurt steps forward and says he's willing to help. The woman didn't want to hire a kid like Kurt, but she had no other option, so she reluctantly accepts and takes Kurt as her assistant. Kurt then sets off with her. As soon as they leave, Krish starts thinking about how nice and sweet Kurt is. But just then, her colleague tells her that Kurt's patron paycheck for the construction work has arrived and Krish is shocked to see that it's 200 gold coin. In her shock, she bumped into the sacks and falls. That's when we find out these sacks weren't just for weightlifting, they were used to test how much mana a person has. The more mana someone has, the heavier the sacks will feel to them. When Krish tries to lift one sack, she finds it heavy but not nearly as heavy as it had felt to Kurt. Meanwhile, on the other side, Kurt was traveling with the lady, and her name was Yulisha. By evening, Yulisha brings Kurt to the place where she had set up a tent. But when Kurt finds out that he has to sleep in the same tent as Yulisha, he says, "I can't sleep next to such a beautiful woman." Hearing the word beautiful, Yulisha blushes. Kurt says he has traveled all over the world but has never seen a woman as beautiful as her. Yulisha tells Kurt that she has been adventuring since the age of 10, so she doesn't consider herself cute at all. Then she gives Kurt something to eat. Kurt says that no one has cooked for him in a very long time, so he's really happy that Yulisha gave him food. The two of them start eating together. Meanwhile, we learn that Gold Nova and the rest of the party members never once sat and ate with Kurt. Later, we see them sleeping in the same tent. Kurt can't fall asleep, but he notices that Yulisha is fast asleep, completely relaxed. Seeing her like that, Kurt struggles to keep his thoughts in check and steps out of the tent. That's when we learn that Yulisha was only pretending to be asleep. She wanted to see if Kurt was trustworthy. Now she's sure that Kurt really is a sweet and dependable guy. The next morning, Yulisha sees that Kurt slept outside the whole night. Then she notices that the button on her shirt, which had been torn, has been sewn back on. When Kurt wakes up, she asks if he did it, and he says yes. She thanks him and says, "Let's start working now. We need to earn 10 gold coins in 1 week." The two of them start mining, but Kurt quickly realizes that Yulisha hasn't found a proper mining spot, and digging randomly won't help them find valuable stones. So, Kurt starts looking for the right place to mine. Yulisha was amazed when she sees Kurt pull out a valuable crystal from a rock, and in no time, Kurt collects a bunch of crystals. Yulisha asks, "Are we going to sell them now?" Kurt replies, "No, they're too small, we won't get much money for these. First, we'll convert them into magic crystals." Yulisha says that there are fewer than 10 people in the entire kingdom who can turn regular crystals into magic crystals, but Kurt does it effortlessly in seconds. Shocked, Yulisha says, "It usually takes an hour to convert even one small crystal and you did it this fast?" Kurt starts to think that true master craftsmen with a lot of mana can use their mana continuously for an hour, which makes him wonder if maybe he really isn't so ordinary after all. By evening, Yulisha was ready to go sell the magic crystals, but Kurt stays behind. He had some things he wanted to work on. As she walks away, Yulisha thinks to herself, "He's just so cute." When she reaches the selling point, a guard asks who converted these crystals into magic crystals. In response, Yulisha shows him her badge. The guard immediately recognizes that she works directly under the royal family and asks no further questions. Then, Yulisha goes to a shop to sell the crystals. The girl there initially dismisses them, saying they look pretty ordinary and probably aren't worth much. But moments later, the girl returns and says she's willing to buy each crystal for 10 gold coins because each of these small crystals had 10 times more mana than normal magic crystals. Since Yulisha has 49 crystals, she ends up getting 500 gold coin. The girl then tells her, "Make sure you only sell these kinds of crystals at my shop, other shops won't understand their true value. And also, the kingdom won't be happy if such rare crystals start ending up in the hands of common folks." She asked her who made these crystals because whoever can make something this incredible should be working directly for the kingdom. But Yulisha refused to tell her, saying that she can't reveal anything about that person without his permission. Now the woman ordered her as a member of the royal court to tell her about him. To this, Yulisha replies, "I'm an adventurer, not anyone's servant, I won't tell you anything about him." So, the woman doesn't press further, but she does say, "At least tell him about my offer. A craftsman this talented could be given a prestigious position by our king himself." After this, Yulisha goes straight to Krish. Interestingly, both of them ask the same thing at the same time. "I wanted to ask you something about Kurt." When Yulisha asks, Krish replies, "Sorry, but we're not allowed to give out our clients' personal information." So, Yulisha shows her official badge, and Krish then reveals that Kurt was once a member of the Flaming Dragon Fong party, but his rank was only G. However, Yulisha was shocked to find out that Kurt earned 200 gold coins for his construction work, and that too in just 3 days. After learning all this, Yulisha says, "Deposit this money into Kurt's account as well. And, as someone who works directly under the royal family, I order you not to tell anyone anything about Kurt." Then, when Yulisha returns to the tent site, she was stunned to see that Kurt has already built a small house there. She asks Kurt, "How did you build a house house in such a short time? Kurt replies, everyone in my hometown can do this pretty easily. Hearing this, Yulysha was left speechless. Meanwhile, we see Kurt's old party fighting a huge monster, but they were clearly overwhelmed. Gold Nova can't use his fire sword. Marley doesn't have enough power to heal everyone, and the new guy they added to the party is no help either. Seeing all this, Vandana thinks to herself, maybe this party is about to fall apart. In the next scene, Yulysha tells Kurt that he's received an invitation to become the director at the Royal Magic Technology Research Lab. Hearing this, Kurt says, I feel like they're playing a trick on you. But Yulysha asks, still, what do you think about the offer? Kurt says, it's a really good offer, but I don't want to accept it, because deep down, Kurt still wants to return to his old party, and besides, he's happy working alongside Yulysha for now. Kurt asks, did you earn any money from selling those magic crystals? Yulysha replies, I took just 1 gold coin for myself and transferred the rest to your account since you were the one who made them. But if we keep working together like this, I'll be able to pay off my taxes soon. Kurt tells her not to worry about that, he'll take care of it. Then Yulysha says that, it seems like you didn't sleep well last night. Kurt responds, 6 hours of sleep was enough for me. Hearing this, Yulysha starts thinking, 6 hours? But building this wooden house must have taken a long time. Meanwhile, Kurt, seeing her expression, thought that he may have overslept, because in his old party he only used to sleep for 4 hours. So, he says, I wasted time resting too much? I'll work even harder now. In the next scene, the two of them go mining again. Kurt says, there should be a crystal mine somewhere nearby, but don't dig more than 50 meters deep, okay? Then Kurt heads toward the area where they found the large crystals yesterday. He tells Yulysha this and then leaves to begin his work. As the next scene begins, evening has set in. After hours of digging, Yulysha finally discovers a large, beautiful crystal. She's excited by the find and thinks to herself that with Kurt's help, she can have this turned into a magic crystal which would fetch a high price in the market. However, she also makes a firm decision. She won't ask Kurt to do it for free. She respects his skills and wants to be fair about compensating him. Curious about what Kurt might be doing at the moment, she walks over to the place where he had been working. When she arrives, she's stunned to see that Kurt has carved a mine directly into a mountain. She steps into the mine and is amazed, as inside, the cave was glowing softly and it was surprisingly spacious. Yulysha was left speechless, wondering how Kurt could possibly have created such a large, polished mining tunnel in such a short time. Just then, Kurt shows up and casually says, oh, so you came. Yulysha nods and asks, yeah, so what did you find here? Kurt replies, nothing too impressive, just a few ordinary rocks. He then begins sorting out some crystals he considers junk into a separate box. However, when Yulysha looks at those crystals, she was stunned. These are beautiful stones, she exclaims. Kurt simply shrugs and says, there are plenty of stones like this here. They're all just low-quality mithril. The moment she hears the word mithril, Yulysha was completely shocked. In Kurt's hometown, there's so much mithril that people throw it away like trash. But in the wider world, mithril was an extremely rare and valuable metal, even more precious than gold or silver. Yulysha can hardly believe what she's hearing. She thinks to herself, what? They throw mithril away? But Kurt had no idea of its real value. He sees it as just another stone. But that's not all. Yulysha soon realizes that Kurt isn't even interested in mithril. His real goal is to find a much rarer material called orichalcum, a mythical metal often referred to as the metal of the gods. Yulysha reacts with disbelief again. She tells him, but finding orichalcum is next to impossible. Kurt calmly responds, not really. You just have to dig about 7 kilometers deep. Then you'll usually find some. At this point, it becomes clear. Kurt has dug a 7-kilometer deep shaft in a single day, that too within just 8 hours. Not only did he dig that deep, but he also made his way back up and filled the entire hole afterward. Yulysha's mind was blown. As she looks around, she sees that Kurt has carved out a massive underground cavern inside the mountain. Kurt asks her, should I go ahead and fill in this cave too? Yulysha, still overwhelmed, quickly says, no, just leave it as it is. Then it's revealed that the path Kurt has dug underneath the mountain now connects Samela Town and Lord Taken's Town. This creates a secret shortcut between the two regions. From now on, any merchant who uses this underground route will have to pay a toll, to Yulysha giving her a new stream of income. 2 days later, we see Kurt walking through Samela Town. Here, he unexpectedly runs into Vandana, a former party member from his old adventuring group. Kurt, surprised, asks her, what are you doing here? Is Gold Nova here too? Vandana replies that she's no longer a part of the Flaming Dragon Fong, the same party that used to mistreat Kurt. We see a flashback to a scene that happened earlier inside a restaurant. Gold Nova, the arrogant party leader, had visited a popular local restaurant but didn't like the food. Disgusted, he got up and tried to leave without paying the bill. Vandana, clearly fed up with him, approached and sarcastically asked, what happened? Didn't like the food at the most popular restaurant in town? Gold Nova Nova ignored her sarcasm and replied, Vandana, you still have some of that smoked meat Kurt made for us, right? She told him, you already ate all of it. Gold Nova arrogantly said, then go to Kurt and tell him to cook more. If he refuses, you know what to do. Hearing this, Vandana became furious. Without saying much, she borrowed Gold Nova's teleportation crystal saying, I'll need this to get to Kurt. As she leave, several city guards walked past her. She thinks to herself, Gold Nova is definitely going to be arrested for the damage he caused at that restaurant. If I get the chance, I'll visit you in jail, leader. Now, Vandana has made her way to Kurt, but instead of telling the truth, she lies and tells him that she too was kicked out of the party, just to gain his trust. Kurt now says, if even you've been kicked out, then I really have no chance of ever returning to the Flaming Dragon Farm. But the truth was, Kurt isn't joining any new adventuring party not because he lacks options but because he still feels a sense of loyalty to Gold Nova. After all, Gold Nova had once done a lot for him. Hearing this, Vandana changes the subject and asks, by the way Kurt, are you looking for work at the moment? Because I know someone who could use an assistant. Would you be interested in the job? She then explains that in the entire royal capital, there are only 15 ateliers, masters of magical workshops, and Kurt would be assisting one of them. She says, I'm sure that you'll be very useful to them. Hearing this, Kurt agrees to help. Vandana then hands him a map and he sets off for the workshop. However, we see a suspicious expression on Vandana's face. Then we learn that ateliers are magical workshops where powerful items are crafted, like magic swords, potions, and magical devices. The heads of these workshops are called atelier masters, and their status is equal to that of a viscount's. Today, Kurt was going to assist one such atelier master. When he arrives at the address and rings the doorbell, a cute girl opens the door. Kurt asks, are you the atelier master? She replies, no, I'm just the assistant. My name is Michelle Lalakota. As soon as Michelle finds out that Kurt is there to help, she becomes very happy and invites him inside. But the moment Kurt enters the building, he feels a terrible smell. Kurt quickly realized that has been called in to clean. Apparently, the kitchen hadn't been cleaned in 3 whole weeks. Kurt, without any complaint, says he'll handle the cleaning. Just then, Michelle was called away by her master, so she leaves Kurt alone to work. Kurt gets to cleaning and in just 30 minutes, the entire kitchen was sparkling clean. Now that there's nothing else for him to do, he starts looking for Michelle. He walks around a bit and comes across a room. Curious, he opens the door to check if anyone's inside. But inside, a young lady was changing her clothes. Startled, Kurt quickly introduces himself. My name is Kurt. I'm here to help out. The girl replies, explaining that Lady Ophelia, the atelier master, is currently in the basement working. But just then, Kurt notices a strange mark on the girl's stomach, a cursed seal. He asks if he can take a closer look. Upon examining it, he realizes that the curse was damaging her internal organs. Suddenly, her stomach growls loudly from hunger. Kurt, showing concern, says, let me cook something for you. Back in the kitchen, while preparing food, it finally dawns on him that he had just seen a girl undressed. Embarrassed, he loses his balance and falls down. Meanwhile, Elisha visits a shop where she was planning to sell mithril and orichalcum. She asks the merchant, Mimi, how much it's worth. Mimi tells her it's valued at 500 gold coins. Elisha then asks, what would happen if the outside world finds out about Kurt? Mimi replies, he would either be kidnapped or assassinated. Elisha admits that she's heard he was kicked out of the Flaming Dragon Fong party. Mimi asks what Elisha intends to do now. Elisha says she wants to make Kurt an atelier master and become his bodyguard. But there's one problem, Kurt himself doesn't know how powerful he really is. Back at the workshop, Kurt finishes cooking. Just then, Michelle returns along with Lady Ophelia. Kurt apologizes, I used your kitchen without permission. I made this food for the girl whose room is in the back. Hearing this, Lady Ophelia suddenly becomes serious and says, don't speak to anyone about that girl. Okay. She then hands Kurt some money and tells him to come back tomorrow. The amount surprises Kurt. It was a very generous payment. As he leaves, Lady Ophelia mutters to herself, how could I have made such a mistake? How did an outsider manage to talk to her? But for now, she decides to focus on removing the curse. We see Lady Ophelia taking the food Kurt made to the cursed girl. She even helps her get dressed. Since the girl doesn't know how to wear clothes properly, someone has always dressed her. Suddenly, her stomach growls again. Lady Ophelia says, let me check it first before you eat. But the girl gently refuses. Please don't check it. My heart tells me he's a good person. She admits she doesn't know who cursed her, and so far, she's suspected everyone. But for the first time, her intuition says she can trust this boy. Lady Ophelia says nothing further. The girl sits down and eats. The aroma of the food was delightful. The taste was even better, but then suddenly a sharp pain strikes her stomach. Panicked, Lady Ophelia says, he must have poisoned it. How could I have been so careless. But then something miraculous happens. The girl slowly begins to stand up, completely fine. Lady Ophelia, stunned, asks, "Are you okay?" The girl nods, and then her curse mark disappears. Lady Ophelia was in disbelief. How is this possible? Meanwhile, we see a mysterious man saying, "I don't understand. How did that curse get removed? It should have been impossible." The man he's speaking to replies coldly, "I've waited long enough. It's time. The princess must die." We're then shown Lady Ophelia visiting Mimi. Mimi introduces Ulysses to her and says, "She's trustworthy. You can speak freely in front of her." Lady Ophelia then introduces herself as the atelier master of Elia. And to the girl with Lady Ophelia, she shows her face, and both Ulysses and Mimi immediately bow down. Now we learn that this girl was none other than Lady Lieselot, the third princess of the royal capital. They discover that someone had placed a deadly curse on the princess, trying to assassinate her. Lady Lieselot is the only daughter of the king and Princess Francos of the East Empire. Her very existence represents peace between two great nations. Someone clearly wants that peace destroyed. Now safe, Mimi hugs the princess in relief. The princess explains she came here to find out who placed the curse on her. Mimi asks, "But it was such a powerful curse, how was it lifted?" The princess smiles and says, "The name of the kind man who helped me is Kurt." Listening Kurt's name, both Ulysses and Mimi get shocked. Then Mimiko starts to explain that whoever tried to assassinate Lieselot or put a curse on her was still inside the royal capital. And that person could be one of these three people. First is General of the Royal Expeditionary Forces, Sinoba. Second is the Archbishop Tristan of the Church. And then the third Queen of the Royal Majesty, Isadora. Lise says, "Isadora is my stepmom, and she can freely move anywhere inside the royal capital. But I don't think Sinoba could be involved." Yulisha says, "Right now, we can't say anything for sure. We can't trust anyone that easily." That's when Ophelia starts explaining that it could be very difficult to catch the culprit, so they'll need to set a trap. Mimiko gets confused and asks, "What kind of plan?" Ophelia explains that Lise is about to turn 15 soon, and after that she'll be considered an adult and must go away for a year to train. Using that opportunity, we will create an atelier while can work as a training workshop. But the twist is that the atelier won't actually exist. It will be a fictional atelier with a fictional master, and Lise will train there. Then the real culprit, while trying to find out about this fictional master, will start gathering information, and we will get to know about him very quickly. Mimiko had a doubt and asked Ophelia that if we hire an atelier master who already exists, then it wouldn't take long for the culprit to gather information. Ophelia tells Mimiko, "That's exactly why we need a new atelier master, one that we will create ourselves." Hearing this, Yulisha says, "I have an idea," and then shows Ophelia a magic crystal. Upon seeing it, Ophelia was shocked and says, "This is a high-grade magic crystal." Yulisha tells her that Kurt made this magic crystal, and this shocked her completely. In the next scene, we see Kurt going back to Ophelia's house to work, but it was closed. Right then, Michelle also arrives. Kurt asks him, "Why is it closed? Did I do something wrong?" Michelle tells him, "After you left yesterday, both Master Ophelia and Princess went somewhere. So, there's no work for you today." Hearing this, Kurt becomes very sad and starts thinking, maybe I did something wrong. Suddenly, he feels hungry and goes to a restaurant to eat. While there, he overhears a party nearby talking about how they are one member short and need a porter, but their current porter was unwell and resting. Kurt overhears this and gets an idea. He approaches the party and says, "If you want, I can work as your porter. I'm not good at combat, but I'm really good at carrying things." One of the girls says, "We can't take a kid like you. How could you underestimate adventurers like this?" Hearing this, the guy next to her scolds her and says, "Please forgive us. My sister can be a bit harsh. Actually, we need a strong porter who can lift 200 kilos with ease." Kurt responds, "I can easily lift 200 kilograms. If you want proof, I'll lift both of you right now." The other guy says, "You won't be a bleed to lift me because I'm already wearing 200 kilograms of armor." But Kurt lifts both of them with each hand, leaving them completely shocked. After seeing this, everyone was completely stunned. In the next scene, we see that all four of them head out for an adventure. Just as they're about to enter the dungeon, a slime attaches to Kurt's leg, due to which he gets extremely scared. Seeing this, Cena says, "Destroy its core and it'll die." But Kurt fails to destroy the core and accidentally stabs his own leg with his knife. Cena quickly comes over, takes the knife, and destroys the slime's core. Then she says, "You said you're bad at combat, but you're just woeful." Kurt gets sad and says, "I'm sorry." Then Kan says, "Kurt, leave the fighting to us." The samurai also adds, "Yes, Kurt, your job is to just carry things. Don't worry, we're with you." Seeing their behavior, Kurt feels very happy and thinks to himself, "When I was in my previous party, they would get angry at me and hit me. But these people are so kind, they haven't even gotten mad at me once." They then go inside, but it was very dark, so Cena sprinkles luminous powder, making the place a bit brighter. As they move deeper, they encounter a goblin. Danjo easily defeats it, but because of that, a whole swarm of goblins surrounds them. They start panicking, wondering how to escape, since goblins are now coming even from the entrance. While they were worried, Kurt says, "Wait, there might be a secret door here." And then he actually finds one. Seeing this, the others feel a bit relieved. Sina quickly runs inside the secret room and shuts the door. Kurt says, "Sina, what are you doing?" Cans and Danjo are still outside. Sina sadly says, "I know." Meanwhile, from outside, Ken shouts, "Kurt, there are too many zombies here. We won't be able to get out. Stay inside and take good care of my sister." Hearing this, Kurt replies, "No, Cans, that's not right. I'll fight with you too." Sina gets angry and says, "You'll just make things worse. You couldn't even kill a slime." Seeing Sina behave this way, Kurt thinks to himself, the truth is, Sina wants to go out there and fight more than I do. But she also doesn't want her actions to put her brother and Danjo in danger. Then Sina says, "It's okay. My brother and Danjo might be able to defeat those zombies and survive. We need to keep moving forward." She uses luminous powder again, but what she sees next shocks her completely. There were numerous iron dragon golems ahead. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yulisha has brought Lise secretly to Kurt's place. Yulisha says, "You know you're sneaking around, right?" Lise replies, "Yes, I know. It's because Kurt-sama still thinks I'm just a normal girl." In the next moment, when both of them enter Kurt's room, they find he's not there. Just then, a voice from outside says, "Kurt has gone to the northeastern cave with the Sakura Adventure Party." As soon as Yulisha hears that voice, she steps outside to see who said it, but the person wearing the bandana had already disappeared. Yulisha then says, "Why did Kurt even go there? This could be a trap. Lise, you stay here, I'll go and check it out." But Lise insists, "Yulisha, I'm coming with you too." To which Yulisha replies, "Don't talk nonsense, Lise." Lise continues to argue and says, "If you leave, I'll be all alone here. Who's going to protect me?" Hearing her say that, Yulisha was left with no choice but to bring her along. In the next scene, the two of them reach the cave, and Lise says that she can see Kurt's footprints ahead. Yulisha, surprised, asks how she can recognize his footprints, and they continue forward until the footprints suddenly disappear. Lise then uses her magic to enhance her senses and starts tracking Kurt by sensing his presence, while Yulisha wonders to herself how Lise knows so much about Kurt's presence and starts feeling slightly jealous, thinking maybe the two have gotten closer. As they move ahead, they hear sounds of fighting, and Yulisha tells Lise to stay where she is. Meanwhile, Sina had completely lost hope seeing all the iron dragon golems around her, realizing that it might all be over. She starts crying, saying, "Kurt, I'm sorry for dragging you into this mess." But Kurt calms her down, tells her to stop crying, and assures her that they'll all get out together. He pulls out his knife and charges at the golems, skillfully dismantling them one by one. Even when they attack him, he easily dodges and takes them all down in a single sweep, leaving Sina completely stunned as she watches him disassemble the golems like it's nothing. When she asks how he's able to do that, Kurt casually says that he used to mine iron dragon golems before, so this is nothing new for him. Just then, Yulisha arrives and asks if Kurt is okay and what exactly happened here, and Sina, still shocked, tells her that Kurt just defeated all those golems with just a dagger. Yulisha was once again surprised, and Kurt asks her to go help Cans and Danjo. She assures him that although they're injured, they're fine. Kurt feels relieved hearing that, but deep down, Yulisha was confused, wondering how someone who ranked G in the aptitude test could have abilities that match someone of S rank level. In the next scene, everyone was gathered together, and Cans thanks Yulisha, who responds that she was just doing her duty. Before leaving, she tells Kurt that a new atelier is opening soon, and she'll be working there as the head adventurer, and she wants him to work there too. Kurt hesitates, saying that he's currently working with the Sakura party and wonders how he could suddenly switch. But Cans encourages him not to worry about them and not to miss out on such a great opportunity. Yulisha adds that since it's a new atelier, they'll need more people, so if any of them want to join too, they're more than welcome. Hearing that, Kens becomes really happy and says, "We should go back and celebrate again." Kurt was about to take the iron golem parts back with him, but Yulisha suddenly says, "Kurt, once we return, we'll have to do another aptitude test for you. Before joining the atelier, it's important you know your real abilities." After hearing this, Kurt thinks to himself, "Yeah, she's right, and that technician must have arrived by now too," and agrees. In the next scene, Kurt arrives at the testing facility where a girl named Mimiko introduces herself and says, "I'll be conducting your aptitude test today. I've heard great things about you." The scene then shifts to Kurt partying and enjoying himself with the Sakura party. Everyone's in high spirits after getting a new job in the atelier. Meanwhile, Kurt's aptitude test results come in. He's ranked B in cleaning, cooking, and mining, and C in everything else. Mimiko reveals that the system ranks from G up to SS, but if someone exceeds SS rank, it becomes impossible to measure their true power. And when she tested him, she realized that in everything including latent magic power, he's actually SSS rank. Kurt even surpassed her. Hearing this, Eulisia says, then Kurt is perfect to be the secret atelier master we need for our fake atelier plan. As the two continue discussing about Kurt, the receptionist overhears everything. She was shocked and then tells them, so you both found out Kurt is SSS rank? Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. In the next scene we see everyone was on their way to their new location. Can suddenly asks, what kind of person will our atelier master be? And Eulisia tries to dodge the question. Meanwhile, Kans's sister seems anxious, thinking to herself, this time, I'll definitely protect my brother no matter what. As they reach the outskirts of town, Kurt suddenly looks sad. Lise notices this and asks, what's wrong now? Kurt replies, I used to work here, repairing the town wall, but then they kicked me out. Eulisia then brings everyone to an empty patch of land and tell them that this will be our atelier. Everyone was completely shocked and says, Eulisia, have you lost your mind? But she continues, actually, Kurt is the one who will build our atelier. Now they're even more stunned, wondering how Kurt could possibly do something like that. Kurt, however, gets super excited and says, alright, give me 1 or 2 days, I'll build it. Eulisia responds, take as much time as you need. No one will disturb you. Kurt then gives her a list of materials and asks her to bring them. Sina watches all this in disbelief and wonders, how is Kurt even capable of doing this? Eulisia notices her reaction and, before Kurt leaves, gently tells him, make sure to take care of yourself too, don't just keep working non-stop. Lise adds, and don't forget to eat your meals on time. Kurt says, don't worry about me, I'm going to handle the work just fine. After that, we see everyone gathered in a room where they were all about to have a discussion. Suddenly, Sina brings up Kurt and starts talking about how she saw him take down the Iron Dragon Golem all by himself, which is something extremely difficult to do, and wonders out loud, who really is Kurt? Eulisia replies, alright, let's talk about that too, but first, I want to tell you all that someone among us actually belongs to a royal family, and she points at Lisa. Then she reveals that Lisa is a princess. Lisa formally introduces herself and even shows her royal dagger, which stuns everyone. That's when Sina asks, wait, is Kurt also from a royal family? Eulisia quickly says, no, absolutely not, and begins explaining how when she first met Kurt, his rank was just G, but there was something truly special about him, something that set him apart. They decided to retest him, and that's when they discovered he was actually SSS rank. This shocks everyone to the core, and they start saying, that's basically impossible. Eulisia responds, but the thing is, Kurt is a bit of a strange case. In some areas he ranks only B or C, while in others, he's a full SSS rank, and because of that, we haven't told him the truth about his full potential. Sina then angrily asks, how can you keep something like that from him? Eulisia replies, I honestly don't think Kurt would ever believe it. That's why we're keeping it quiet for now. She tries to explain more, but Sina keeps objecting, getting more and more upset with Eulisia because she feels their whole plan is starting to sound like they're using Kurt. Seeing how emotional Sina is getting, Kens tries to calm her down, but she refuses to even listen to her brother. Eventually, Kens manages to settle her, and then they decide go ahead and continue with the plan. Then Lise begins sharing something unexpected. She says Kurt's cooking didn't just taste good, it actually cured the curse she had since childhood. Everyone was confused, so Lise explains properly, since I was little, I'd been afflicted by a curse that no one could remove. It was slowly eating away at my body, and I didn't have long to live. But one day, I met Kurt. He made a special porridge just for me, and the moment I ate it, the curse vanished and I completely recovered. Lise then requests everyone to not treat her like royalty. Instead, she asked them to treat her like Kurt's friend to keep both her identity and Kurt's secret from him. She also don't want him to find out that she is a princess. Hearing all this, Danzo says, in a way, Kurt saved all our lives. We're his friends and we'll keep his secret. We're all on the same mission. Kans also agrees to keep everything confidential, but Sina wasn't happy at all and says, I need some time, before walking out of the room. Outside, she thinks to herself, I have to tell Kurt the truth. He deserves to know everything. But when she reaches him, she's completely stunned. Kurt, in just a few hours, had already finished an incredible amount of work. Kurt then says, why are you so surprised? I've only finished digging the pit, right? Even a B rank adventurer could easily do this, couldn't they? But Sina finds it quite odd and thinks to herself, no, a B rank adventurer couldn't do all this so easily. She then asks Kurt, don't you ever feel bothered that people just keep handing you all kinds of tasks like this? Kurt replies with a smile, bothered? Not at all, I actually enjoy doing this kind of work. Seeing him so genuinely happy, Sina starts to think about Eulisia's plan. That's when she recalls what Eulisia had told her about how Kurt had a pure heart. Watching him now, Sina realizes that for herself. She then turns to him and says, Kurt, from today on, let's be good friends. In the next scene, we see a man talking with Bandana. He was collecting information from her and even pays her in exchange. Then, in another scene, a shady man is seen harassing a girl, but she somehow manages to escape. The man grows angry and mutters to himself, I'm starting to doubt Sakura. I heard they are now working with the third princess at the atelier. Maybe it's time to remove them from the path. Just then, he hears a voice from behind and suddenly freezes, asking who is that? As he turns around, we see that it was none other than Danzo. It turns out Danzo had been collecting information about this man from Banana. The shady man panics and runs off, wondering how Danzo found him so suddenly. But while running, he trips into a trap that Danzo had already set in advance. Danzo then approaches him and starts confronting him. The man gets scared and says, I swear I don't know anything about this. You know we used to be in the same party. Please forgive me. But Danzo doesn't even respond to his pleas. He draws his sword and points it right at the man's neck. Terrified, the man begs again, but Danzo coldly says, I'm not your friend, and if I ever see you near my friend again, you know exactly what I'll do to you. With that, Danzo walks away after sparing his life. Meanwhile, Bandana, who had been hiding nearby, witnesses the entire scene. But as more people arrive, she quickly hides again. At the same time, Bandana's crow arrives with a message, and we see that she was shocked after reading the message as she got orders from her master to investigate about Kurt's hometown. Then we cut back to the under construction site where Danzo and Cans were talking to each other. They were so stunned that they asked themselves, are we dreaming? Because in just 3 days, Kurt had built what looks like a literal royal palace. Lise, on the other hand, is overjoyed because she absolutely loves Kurt's work. Kurt then comes out and asks, do you all want to see the inside of the house? Everyone nods, and they go inside as Kurt gives them a full tour. They were all amazed by how spacious and detailed the place is. Kurt even shows them the water production plant inside the atelier itself with pumps. Seeing all this, the group was left speechless as how could someone accomplish so much in so little time? Then Kurt shows them the bedrooms. Lise was especially delighted and says, this bed even smells like you. Embarrassed, Kurt says, sorry about that, I took a little nap on it earlier. Finally, Kurt shows them the atelier master's room. Then he turns to Yulisha and asks, so, when is the atelier master arriving? And who is it anyway? Hearing this, Yulisha gets a little flustered and tries to change the subject. After visiting all the room, everyone asked Kurt about his room, but Kurt says, there's a small space next to the kitchen. I'll sleep there at night. Hearing this, everyone gets really upset. They say, there's no way you're doing that. Why didn't you build a proper room for yourself? Why would you sleep in that cramped space? They keep discussing the topic, and eventually, they decided that Kurt will sleep in a proper room like everyone else. Then Yulisha asks Kurt, can you do something to protect the house from curses? Kurt apologizes as that's very difficult, and he couldn't do it. Hearing that, Yulisha immediately feels disappointed. Later that night, in an attempt to protect the house, she begins placing talismans around the house at various points. She then goes to place one outside Lisa's house, but just then, Lise comes outside. At first Yulisha was startled, thinking for a moment that it might be Kurt. Lise says, what are you doing here? From the looks of it, you're jealous, aren't you? Because I'm getting a bit too close to Kurt. Embarrassed, Yulisha quickly denies it, saying, it's nothing like that at all. The next day, Kurt was cooking and Lise, wearing a cute outfit, was helping him. She looks adorable while doing so, but Yulisha steps in and says, why are you doing all this? You don't have to. While they're talking, Sina arrives and was surprised to see the scene in front of her. Even Yulisha was astonished by Kurt's skills. She was thinking, how can a guy be so good at so many things? Kurt had made several different dishes, and they all looked delicious. Everyone really enjoyed the food and was visibly happy. Then Yulisha asks, where's Kurt? Sina replies, he went to clean up. Hearing that, Yulisha becomes alarmed and rushes off to find him. She's worried that while cleaning, Kurt might accidentally erase the magical circle. As she reaches him, Kurt says, look at this, there's a weird black stain here. And while saying this, Kurt wipes the area thinking it was graffiti and easily erases the magical circle. Watching this, Yulisha was absolutely stunned, like her soul had just left her body. With no more supplies to re-establish the barrier, Yulisha realizes she will have to protect Lieselot herself until Mimiko arrives in a few days. In the next scene, we see Malphus meeting with the Bishop Tristan, who tells her that she is now exiled from the church. Malphus was shocked, but the bishop continues, you were part of the Flaming Dragon Fong team, but that party no longer exists, and the leader of the group is now a wanted criminal. Malphus pleads, but Bishop, this wasn't my fault. Yes, I used lightning magic in the royal capital, but I had a reason. We were being served horrible food. The bishop snaps, enough with the excuses. Because of you, the reputation of the Poland church has been severely damaged. Malphus becomes disheartened and thinks to herself, I need to do something to restore the reputation of the Poland church. The bishop then says, but I know about your abilities. That's why I'm giving you a task. If you complete it, I'll grant you the rank of priest. Then he offers her a glass of wine. Without thinking and determined to restore her church's name, Marlis drinks the wine. The bishop then gives an ominous smile and says, "Good, I want you to assassinate Princess Lyslot." Hearing this, Malphus was horrified and collapses on the ground. The bishop continues, "I didn't tell you this earlier, but that wine contained a curse. It's now in your stomach. From now on, you won't be able to eat anything other than water, and within a month, you'll die from hunger. But if you succeed in your mission, you'll be freed from the curse." Malphus had no other choice. She said, "I entrust my life to you." In the next scene, we see her lying weakly on a magic circle, looking completely worn out, and standing right beside her was a demon lord. And with that, part 1 of this anime recap comes to an end, and if you enjoyed this video, drop a like and comment for part 2.